What to do? It's your boy Lifeline of Lifeline Presents, bringing to you Game by Lifeline. I got a special guest in the building, Kendra from She's More Podcast. How you doing, Kendra?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Doing well, can't complain. I met Kendra in real estate school last year, and she actually inspired me to do the podcast. I've been wanting to do a podcast for years, but when she told me she did a podcast, because Kendra liked to pick people's minds, She liked to ask questions, So she gave me her podcast, and I listened to them, and it was real interesting. So I told her I wanted to do a podcast with her back then, but at the time, we was both doing different things. But we're going to get right into this podcast today, but I'm just letting you know you inspired me.
Thank
So,
you, Steve. I didn't know that. I knew we had some conversations about it, but I appreciate it.
you remember when I wanted to start, I was calling you, actually, what you get your microphones from.
Yes.
I kept picking your brain to see what it was, and I just jumped out here.
And now you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. The first card is the blue card. Is the my mate card from the relationship game questions. Too sensitive. Someone easily hurt or offended. Is it a must, B, preferred, C, conversation, D, a deal breaker? Answer, then explain why you chose that answer. Too sensitive.
So I'm gonna say conversation.
Okay.
Okay. So it's definitely not a must. It's not a must that I be with somebody that is too sensitive. I don't know if anyone in particular would say that, but I think you have to look at sensitivity and make sure that there's not a stigma on it first before we go deeper into the conversation. Right? It's not necessarily even something that I prefer, but it's something that I would say is conversational only because it depends on the situation. So a lot of times in society, of course, if we talk about gender roles, the male is always expected to be somebody of strength, somebody who holds it together, someone, of course, who's a provider, someone who is expected to always show up and be strong, right? However, with that, there is a place for sensitivity. So I never want to say that I never want to have a man that's sensitive or a partner that's sensitive because there may be places for that in a situation or relationship. And I also never want to place a stigma on a man that says you cannot be sensitive because that, in essence, is preventing them from number one, being human, and number two, being able to tap into and show you that sensitive side that as a woman, I may want to see from time to time. So definitely for my guys out there, I definitely encourage. I had this conversation with my friend just last night. She's raising a son, and she said she never wants to talk to her son and say, "Stop crying, don't cry." She wants him to be able to feel that, sit in that emotion, but not let it overtake him to the place where it stops him or prevents him from doing things or moving forward or pushing past that current situation, right? So for me, it's a conversation. There is a place for sensitivity, but I just don't want it to be where the person is overtaken by their sensitivity and therefore we can't move forward or can't have progress or there is a mental or emotional block as a result of it.
Wow. Therapist Kendra. God,
Oh,
be more careful. I didn't know. I didn't know. I knew because we had conversations already before. And, looking at the card right here, I'm just joking. Looking at the card right here, it says someone easily hurt or offended.
mhm.
So it would be conversation for me. So maybe I can learn not to offend them or hurt them. But then it depends if they always being hurt or always being offended. Then it comes into a deal breaker because now I'm walking on eggshells with my mate. And I don't know, because now I can't even be myself because they're so much easily offended. And then since we established this on this show, I'm petty. So so let that be clear. But if they are offensive or if they like to hurt, because now I'm gonna disregard your sensitive self if you out here hurting people. So me myself, it's definitely a conversation, and then me paying attention to how they move when it comes to other people, not just myself. Like, are you too sensitive when it comes to you, but you giving everybody the truth about themselves and you handling people? So I'm always gonna pay attention to the person. I'm not gonna just always treat you with bubble wrap if you are aggressively hurting people. So it's
Okay.
definitely conversation until a deal breaker.
Okay, so you want to make sure that it's not somebody who can dish out but who can't take, in essence. But do you think that's something that can change or can be worked out in the relationship if you find in the beginning that they're too sensitive and you can't be yourself because of how they're always kind of taking offense to a situation? Do you think that can be worked out realistically in a relationship?
I think it can, but I think it's all on the individual. Like sometimes we got to understand their problem is their problem. Like sometimes we don't get that. We don't get that at times because now I'm tiptoeing on trying to make us be in a good place where you the one with the issue. I mean, I'm just being real with you. It's just like if I have a problem with something and a female tell me, you know what, like she tried to work with me with what I'm dealing with, but eventually that's my issue. See, that's why we have to go to therapy ourselves, especially when we know that we have things that are not conducive for us to be in a healthy relationship. So if I'm too sensitive and it's been hindering me in different relationships, therefore I need to talk to my therapist or a therapist and see how can I process things a little bit better where I'm not always feeling offended. I hate to drop this book, because I haven't done this yet, but it's a book that I was in a relationship in 2019, 2020. And the female, I think I was having problems with my kid's mother, whatever. And she gave me a book that was called Debate of Satan. And the number one rule in the book of Debate of Satan is being offended. Because when you be offended, you move differently. So therefore, by this too sensitive and being easily hurt or being offended, that means you always gonna come from a hurtful and offended place. So therefore, I don't know really if I want to be walking on eggshells from a person that's always going to be giving that energy back to the universe.
Understood. I get that. And I do like that, where that person is always going to be offended. And my pastor even talked one time about when you're always offended, you build offense, right? You like that play on words. And he actually did the illustration on the pulpit where he started, if one thing happens, okay, you put one stake in the ground, another thing happens, you put another stake, and then that continuously builds offense in your relationship where now there's a block. So my question to you is the reason why I asked you what I asked you is because, okay, let's say you have two people and now they're standing on opposite sides of the fence. Is there any talking through that fence to kind of start knocking down some of those pillars? There has to be, yes, there can be individual space for each person to do therapy. Absolutely. I recommend it 100%. Right. But then you got to see if therapy's working. So you still have to come together and work at it as a couple still, even when you're in therapy, because you got to see if therapy is really working. And at the end of the day, communication is going to be extremely important to make sure that it doesn't happen again and again. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? Or you just say, no, it's a deal breaker, or do you try to work through it?
I think to me personally, when you have a partner that their situation, because that's a red flag for many people. That's a red flag. So therefore, and I'm known for it. I'm known for ignoring red flags. I said this before on this episode, but I didn't give in depth. My therapist said I ignore red flags until it becomes too big. And then when I cut the person off, they be confused because I allowed the red flag for so long.
That's good. That's deep.
Yeah, when he said that, that really was. It really was. And we do that at time. I do that now. You know what I mean? Because it's depending on what else they bring to the table. Because I realize nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But we really have to realize in the long run, can you deal with this? So me personally, it's gonna be conversation to deal breaker. And I'm like you, I believe you can talk about it, but I realize when a person has the issue, is you can help them get the help, but you can't help them fix their issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I have been guilty of that over and over and over again. And I think as women, because it's our natural state to be a helpmate, even though I believe that we should be that level of helpmate within the bounds of a marriage, not just a relationship, right? But we are wired to be a support to to men, right? That's what I believe. So I do think sometimes we overstep and try to step in and fix it. I learned it one way a long time ago where I want a man, not a project. Especially sometimes with the different occupations that we have. If we're in a helping profession or occupation, we're even more inclined to see somebody, see their potential, and just kind of want to pour in, pour in. But what I have learned over the years, of course, that's draining. And that's emotionally taxing and can turn into a toxic situation if we're not careful. So I do agree with you that it's not, you said it earlier, their problem is their problem. And we have to, I have to make sure that I'm doing that and understanding that there is a separation and I am not called to fix the situation because then I pour and pour and pour, and then I'm depleted in that area because that person doesn't have it to give because they're dealing with that issue. And then where am I left? How am I faring for myself? Right. So I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, and that's it. We could go on, and I think this is gonna be the longest episode. We're dealing with you. This is gonna be the longest episode,
We
but
can't do that to the people. We're gonna be concise. We're gonna be
I'm
concise.
cool with it because I'm realizing you got a lot of good stuff to say. So therefore, we're not speeding through it. We're not rushing through it. We just gonna let it be.
Okay.
Okay.
Buckle up, folks. Buckle up.
Buckle up, buckle up. Okay. Now this one is a yellow card. This is a blank and white card. I least prefer blank out of these choices and why. Oh, this is crazy because it's A, too sensitive, B, a narcissist, C, disrespectful, or D, a victim mentality. That's A, too sensitive, B, a narcissist, C, disrespectful, and D, a victim mentality. Answer, then explain why you chose your answer.
So the first thing, of course, that you think about is um narcissist, right? And that's a huge word right now in society. Everybody's, diagnosing folks, misdiagnosing folks with being a narcissist, right? So I just did a quick little Google search, right, of narcissists. And what comes up is personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others, right? Quick Google search. So even though the rest are a struggle too, like I don't want none of them. Disrespectful, that victim mentality, definitely don't want that because it's gonna be just, woe is me, you can't get nowhere with that. But I would have to say narcissist because part of that definition in believing that others are inferior and then lacking empathy. Those two things in and of itself are destructive to a relationship, right? So I would have to go with that. In a relationship, you can't think of your partner as inferior. That's not going to go well. And then you can't not have empathy. A relationship is all about empathy. Empathy meaning being emotionally intelligent, and that word is going to come up a little later on too. But empathy is about being emotionally intelligent and understanding the needs of the other person. In a relationship, you are not there to serve yourself, and that is what a narcissist does. But you're not there to serve yourself, you're there to serve the other person. And as long as the other person has that same mentality, then y'all gonna be okay, right? So I would have to go with that one because if you just have no human regard for people and you are self-centered and it is all about you, you might as well be in a relationship with yourself. That's an oxymoron when it comes to relationships. Being a narcissist, it just don't go together.
No, you correct. And I didn't want to jump, I didn't want to dive into narcissists. I would have went with narcissists as well. But like you said, right now, it was like maybe 10 years ago, everybody calling everybody bipolar. You
Yeah,
know, bipolar was the diagnosis of anybody who just changed their mind.
yeah.
So we didn't go clinically or really, really like the health, we didn't go that. We just everybody bipolar. Now everybody's a narcissist. Anybody who feel like they're anybody with anything, it's just high regards of themselves, regardless if they look down on people, just anybody who you could be selfish and they say you're a narcissist. You could be this, you're a narcissist. It's like it's thrown around so much. So I didn't want to jump into that one. I'm glad you did. You did a hell of a job. But I'm gonna go with, and just like you, I don't want neither one of these.
No.
I think to me, narcissist and victim mentality is the two that really rubs me differently, and I think to me, victim mentality is like I've dealt with that in different relationships, and it don't allow the person to be accountable. And that's what eats me up. It's like you want everybody to be accountable but you. And that right there is a whole different way of thinking. And it's hard to be in a relationship with somebody like that
I
because
agree.
yeah, it gets real rough. And then I'm not into changing. And I know I'm a rough dude because when you said it before about a person, like when you really this person, like really, can you really deal with it? Like we could say conversation, all this other stuff that sounds good, like we working on it. But if a zebra's a zebra, I mean, what is you trying to make it into a pony for?
Yeah,
It's a zebra.
yeah.
It's either you accept the zebra or you move on. But trying to say you're going to change the stripes of the zebra is just too much work. So with the victim mentality, it's definitely, I least prefer that out of these choices.
Yeah, and you said a word accountability with the victim mentality, as if they never take accountability for their own stuff. And it just makes me think when you translate that in a relationship, as as you're going through your relationship, can someone with the victim mentality ever say I'm sorry? Right? Because, like you said, they're not taking accountability. They're just looking at how whatever happened in the situation affects them, not thinking about how it affects someone else. So, in relationships, I'm sorry is necessary because when I hear my man tells me I'm sorry, that means that they have acknowledged that they've done something wrong, and it's not a winning situation or a tit for tat. Oh, good, I got him to say I'm sorry, or I got him to admit that he was wrong. It has nothing to do with that. But when someone really sits with their decision that they made and they see how it affects you, and then they come to you and say, you know what, that was wrong. I'm sorry. That's accountability. That's good. That means that they were in a space of reflection, evaluated their behavior, and decided that that was not acceptable. So,
Yeah. It's amazing though, because I miss the relationship. I'm a sucker for love. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm whatever you want to call me. But I realized that I dated a few people that had victim mentality. And sometimes they'll say they're sorry. And then when you talk about it later on, they really wasn't sorry. They just said that to get the conversation moving forward.
mhm.
Because they said, well, I really didn't think I was wrong, but so it's like, so you didn't, so that sorry was really nothing,
Yeah.
but that's neither here nor there. But let's get to the next card. I think it's a blue card. It's a my mate card. My mate, compassionate. A person is feeling or showing sympathy and concerns for others. Is it a must, B, preferred, C, conversation, D, a deal breaker? Answer, then explain why you chose that answer. Compassionate.
A must. No doubt about it. That's a no-brainer for me. I'm big on people. I'm big on making sure that people are seen, people feel seen, that we be intentional about understanding each other. We are relational creatures. We are not meant to be here by ourselves. As a result, we have to be conscious of other people's feelings, emotion, um, connect to people. If we see them struggling, thinking about ways that we can help them, support them, right? Not take the weight on. We're not God, not taking the weight on and fixing and solving, but walking alongside them and being with them, right? So sympathy is a must. Being concerned, and that it can be connected to someone's love language. But for me, I'm definitely going to, if I'm not seeing it out the gate when it comes to a man showing me certain things, I'm going to be very vocal about this is something that I need. What I'm learning throughout life is that everyone wasn't raised the same way. And that's obvious, right? We know that everyone wasn't raised the same way. Everyone didn't come up with the same values and understanding when it comes to relationships and connecting with people. So I would give people the benefit of the doubt enough to say, okay, you're not showing me that you really know how to be concerned with the things that I'm concerned about. Or, for example, a case in point could be if there is something that my mate needs, I'm going to be thinking, 2 steps ahead or anticipating this is going to be a need that he has. How can I support this need or fill this need for him? That's showing sympathy, empathy, concern, right? So if the person is not necessarily reciprocating that, that doesn't mean, oh, deal breaker, forget it. Sometimes you really just have to teach folks because they've never been maybe in a situation where they've had to be that intentional about the other person's feelings. So it's definitely a must. But I do think if you don't notice it out the gate, if the person is a pure-hearted, good person, but they just are not showing you that, maybe that's something that you might have to not necessarily teach them or train them, but let them know how important it is to you, and then teach them how to love you in that way.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. You said a lot right there. And I believe that it's preferred to me going towards a must.
Yeah.
If they don't have it, then it's a conversation. But it's definitely preferred going towards a must because you want somebody that's sympathetic to other people, showing concern, you know, um, and some people, like you say, just don't have that. Like you can have people that was in like they're the only child. So really they don't even know how to,
Mhm.
you know, and 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 when you have those type of conversations and understandings, it kind of, it helps you understand why they don't see things the way you do, why you do so much for your family and they don't understand it because they just wasn't brought up like that. Because some only children, it was moms and dad take care of me. I didn't have to take care of nobody. I just was on the receiving end. So a lot of times they don't really know how to give, when it comes to concerning others, because they was always the one being concerned by their parents. So, but definitely it's preferred to going towards a must to me. And I would
Yeah,
definitely talk to my person and just let them understand, like, the same way you appreciate me doing things for you, I like it too.
absolutely, absolutely. You got to teach people how to love you. And I'm learning that, we might just have the expectation out the gate that that's what they're supposed to already know how to do, but that's an assumption, right? And I had somebody tell me years ago, she was talking to a group of women and she said, for some reason, somebody sold us the dream that men come ready, right? And I know, that can be a whole episode in and of itself
Yeah.
because of expectations that we can and that we do and or we should have when it comes to men in a relationship with a woman. But at the same time, like, we're all constantly growing, developing. We are a product of our previous experiences, you know, and we're trying to still grow, develop, learn new patterns, learn new thought patterns, improve ourselves, and all of that. So we're constantly growing and developing. So I do think we have to extend just an understanding that everybody is not going to come fully packaged with every single thing that you want. Of course, the basics are important, making sure that they're not abusive, you know, making sure that they are caring and providing the things that you feel like you need to be in a safe and non-toxic relationship, right? But at the same time, if they're providing that, at least that, you know, you're in a safe, non-toxic, non-abusive relationship, there's certain things that you just need to work through just as human beings, personalities, as two people coming together, two cultures, it might be two people from different places, two lived experiences, two different childhoods, all of that, right? So I do think that you have to work on cultivating that, having conversation. We live in a microwave society. Everybody kind of wants it quick. But you got to put the work in for it to really be valuable.
Yeah, and what you said is funny because I've been marinating on this thought for a while, and when you said it, it just sparked it, you know, because we're in a world right now where people dating think that their mate is product instead of a person. See, when you order product, you could say the size, the color, you know, you could say everything. You could design it, you could put it in your cart, you could add some stuff to it. But you got to realize you dating a person.
Mhm.
Like God already, if they don't believe in God, the world already molded them. Like you getting somebody already molded. You're not getting clay.
Mm.
So if you don't appreciate who you have when you meet them and you looking at what they can be, you looking at them being somebody else. And right now, you know, me personally, I went through a situation where a female told me, you know, after we've been saying we love each other and everything, she said, you know, you changed two things about you. I, you would you will be the one you will be, she said something like, you will be the one I want and the one I need. And I laughed, right? Because it was a text. I said, you know what? I said, did you read what you just sent me? You know what I mean? And I said, yo, I'm good with me. You know, I don't feel like I need to change me. I've been working on me for a long time. You might need to find him
Mm.
because I'm me. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor
No,
there.
you can't drop that and just go on to the next. Hold on. So does that mean that Steve doesn't continuously grow, even when it comes to relationships?
Yeah, I do. But I'm not gonna be the product that you want.
I agree. Okay, I get that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be the product because everything with her, I didn't like everything. But that's why it's called acceptance. And when you dating somebody, you're gonna have to accept who they are.
Yeah,
And if they need to change and they're not willing, then move on.
yeah, I
I
agree.
wasn't willing to change because I felt like I'm not trying to get you to change. I accepted a lot of things that you fell short at. I dealt with a lot of things that I typically wouldn't have dealt with in this relationship. I'm not putting demands on you to change your situation, your whatever. I accepted you because that's what love is. And I'm a firm believer of this. I told my daughter this recently. I don't choose who I love, but I love who I choose.
Okay,
You dig me?
I
So
like it.
if I choose to be in a relationship with you, I already accepted all these things with you until some new stuff come up. But I'm not going to start telling you you need to work on this, and this after I tell you I love you and I want to be with you. But
I got you.
yeah, you
I had to
got,
write that down. You got me over here taking notes.
hey, I've been taking notes my whole life. My mother, I used to be writing stuff down. She was asking a lot of questions. Mother used to always say, why you asking all these damn questions? You writing a book? She's why you writing a book?
See, little did she know you had a book in you.
I always needed to know. I always needed to know. And then I asked several people the same question at 7, 8 years old. This is how my mind always worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So now this is the last question. This is the bonus question. Blank and why. I love it when my mate and I blank. Answer freely. I love when my mate and I blank.
Okay. I love it when my mate and I cook together.
Yeah.
So the reason being is because I'm a foodie, he's a foodie. Um, but beyond that, that's kind of where we both light up, right, in the kitchen. Um, and it's an opportunity for us to see each other's personality, to laugh, to be creative with each other. We're creating something together, and it's a way that we're serving each other, right? We're both preparing this meal, working together for each other. So in the grand scheme of things, I just feel it represents just kind of in life, that's the companionship and the partnership that I want. I want somebody side by side with me, being creative and in the lab, putting together something beautiful that's just for us, but it's something that we know we're going to enjoy together, something that we can do together and enjoy together. So it just kind of symbolizes partnership, and two people coming together to create something beautiful for the sake of each other, and whatever that is, and however that translates into us sitting down in the lab working on our goals together and how we want to move forward in life and how we want to design our life. So we're designing dishes in the kitchen like we can design our life. So short
Mm.
and sweet, but that's what I love to do.
Oh, that wasn't short, Kendra, but nah, but seriously, I'm not even gonna answer this. You gave a good one because I gave cooking before. I gave so many different answers, but we just wrapped up the first. That was the appetizer right now. I'm about to get to the entree because the open dialogue is where things get a little different.
Okay.
Open dialogue is a little different. Okay, I gotta go to my phone now because these is not
Okay.
on the cards. So the open dialogue is, let's get out of here. Um, the first open dialogue question is, would you rather be single or married? Explain why.
All right. Here we go. So I'd rather be married, right? I do believe that it, like the Bible says, is two are better than one. Okay. So I do believe that when you have two people, like-minded people, uh, they don't have to be the same person, but just moving in the same direction, right? Or wanting the same overarching goals in life. It's a beautiful thing. And I had been single for years and years and years and years, and I appreciate those single years because it helped me really understand who I am, right? So I don't discredit that at all, but I want companionship. So that's why I prefer to be married versus single. However, I don't want to be married just to be married. I I'd rather be in a marriage that's healthy, and a good positive marriage. I'm not one that just wants to be married to have the title and to have the ring, because you could be married and miserable, and I'm not interested. So the answer to that is married. But I don't have a problem being single if that means that I'm happy by myself. Which I've spent a lot of years by myself, and I'm still kind of an individual, regardless of being in a relationship or not. I'm still an individual. So I enjoy myself, and I can do anything with myself by myself, and I don't have a problem with it. But I do desire companionship, so I would prefer to be married.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather be married, but right now, as it stands for today, I'd rather be single.
Why?
Because right now I just came out of a relationship, and right now I wanna fix or work on some things with myself, but then at the same time have a time of peace. You know, because when you win a relationship, you you prioritize trying to make your mate happy. You conform to their life. Y'all have a blended life. And right now, what I just went through, well, I'm saying it was a worst relationship, but nothing like that. But what I just went through, I realized, let me get back to some peace right now. Let me get back to some peace. I reflected from 2024 and dealing with a couple females and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you know what? Let me get back to Steve and let me just get back to things that's important to me. I'm like out of arguments. I don't have another argument in me. Like a dude could step on my foot and I might just smile at him. Like I don't have an argument in me, you know? It's funny, but I don't have an argument in me. So right now, and trust me, I'm with you too. Like I really desire to be married, but right now I want to work on a few things. And then, even like doing this right here, I'm learning so much of things I might need to ask or pay attention to with my next person. But right now, I don't even see that person right now. I don't even want to see that person. Now, if God give them to me, then I'm cool with it. But when it comes to marriage, and me, you went to real estate school. Remember one thing that rubbed us wrong when they was like, one to buy, two to sell. Boy, I don't even know. Like, I don't know if I want to sign somebody up for my house or whatever I got going on. So I know it's gonna be a prenup, and they be like, "You ain't even got nothing," but I want what I got. You know, like I don't want
Okay.
anybody coming here and just disrupting my thing. But definitely, I'm cool with being single. I think I'm gonna run single out the rest of 2025.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you would take it as far as getting a prenup? Like if let's say you met the woman of your dreams, God
Oh,
sent
definitely,
her to you
definitely,
tomorrow, you would get a prenup.
definitely.
What if her perspective of a prenup is that you're preparing for divorce before the marriage gets good and going?
Now I feel like she got insurance on her car. She's not preparing for an accident. She's just covering herself.
Okay.
I'm just covering myself, and I hope she has assets and things that she might want to cover. Now, if we get a house together, then that'd be the house that we don't have to have a prenup on.
Okay. So anything prior to
Yeah,
knowing her, you would
definitely.
want to
Prior
protect.
to anything I build on her watch is ours,
Okay.
but things I built before that is mine. And just like things she built before that is hers.
But what about the concept of two becoming one?
Yeah, we will be from this day forward. From this day forward, we have become one. But
Okay.
everything before today it goes to the estate.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it goes to the estate. Anything prior goes to the estate. And I would hope that she's bringing something to the table. Because she might not understand at the moment, but I just seen so many divorces, so many breakups where where I got a white dude at my job named Steve. And a few years ago, he had a rough breakup. I'm gonna send him this podcast so you can listen to. He said a lot of things. I was like, bro, you might be bitter or you might be hurt or whatever. But he said something like, what do a man benefit from marriage? Like
Oh,
all the things I had to go through to she didn't want to be here no more or whatever. And I gotta do all this. We gotta figure out what the kids, we gotta, he said, like, I gave my life to this relationship. Like I was the fourth person priority in my life. It was my wife and my two kids. And then when whatever happened and she no longer wanted to be here, it disrupt everything that I put hard work into for these years.
mhm.
So if he had a prenup, he might not feel as bad. So right now, I might be a little bitter right now too from my last relationship on the low.
Maybe.
On the
Maybe.
low. Nah, but I'm really not. But to be honest with you, I just want my peace so much that whoever I deal with seriously have to understand that my peace is everything. And if you don't bring peace, then I don't want what you're bringing.
That's fair. I can't be mad at that. That's fair. We all have to protect our peace.
Yeah,
We all
definitely.
have to do that. So I ain't mad at it.
Okay. This is, do you think social media relationship gurus are helpful?
They can be, but let me tell you what my quorum with social media relationship gurus are.
Mhm.
For a long time, I felt like it was a lot of men talking to women about why they needed to leave the man because of this, and this. Or ladies, look out for this in a man. And if he doing this, he don't love you. If he doing this, he never gonna marry you. Okay. And all of that is relative. Like we need to hear that and get that perspective too from a man. But why were they not talking? Why were the men not talking to the men and saying, fellas, don't do this to a lady so that you can have a successful relationship? I feel like there's so many people out there, so many single people out there because like we're fighting against each other, right? Because you got one person relationship guru telling a man, she just wants your money, she just wants this, she wants you to buy her bundles, she wants you to take on trips. You know what I'm saying? And then the men are, telling the women that he don't care about you, he cheating on you, he checking for the other woman. If he's doing this, then he's cheating. If he's doing this, but why were the messaging not? How can we bring the two together, right? How can we encourage and support folks coming together? So relationship gurus on social media, they have its place because they have a reach, but I feel like they need to be more responsible with it and not create division. But I do think relationship gurus, just like any other person, trying to make a business and sell, is that they were just appealing to the market and they knew that men were not necessarily subscribed to something that a man is telling them to do, but a woman will in terms of listening to what a man has to say from a male's perspective. So I just think they were capitalizing on the market because a woman is going to be more inclined to talk about relationships when a man is not. So I think they were just benefiting off of us by benefiting on the market who's going to pay attention and engage with the content that social media relationship guru is sharing. But that's my quorum. I just felt like it needs to be a lot more men talking to men and women talking to women to help us to get to where we need to be so that we can come together because again, two are better than one. The world is changing and it's getting real out here. And I do believe that we need each other. There are strengths that each person has that we need to bring to the table and stand together. A lot of issues will not be issues if we had that mentality.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. You broke it down pretty good, so I ain't gotta say much. You know, I feel like it's a place for them, but people have to understand that you can't, it ain't a one size fit all.
Yeah.
So therefore, when somebody gives something smart to say or do, you got to really understand, are you capable of even following through with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I don't give, even like my friends and stuff, I might tell them things I wouldn't do, but I don't tell them what to do
Yeah.
because you could be so much in love that I say, yo, bro, you shouldn't do that, bro. This, that, and other. And you tried and it crushes you. Like you gotta do what you capable of doing. Now it's good to hear different people. And that's why I don't subscribe to telling people what to do. I like my platform because it gives everybody an opportunity to tell you how they feel. This is, and it's definitely edutainment because it's funny at times, you can learn something. But my thing with my platform is that I don't know everything. That's why I ask questions. And I want to hear different people thoughts, opinions of what they feel is good. And then sometimes I might even learn something from something. Sometimes, but every show I get something from it. Every show I walk away with something from, like, you know what? Like, I might need to tighten up with this, or maybe I need to rethink this or whatever, because I realize like conversation rule the nation and iron sharpens iron. So when you don't have an idea, like you got to stand for something. So if you listen to relationship gurus and you don't already stand on something, you're going to be all over the place. You're going to be all over the place. But yeah, but I definitely I think everybody has a place, but people got to realize either you a leader or a follower, and if you're a follower, make sure you're picking the right leaders.
Yeah, you're right about it.
Okay. This is the last question, and then we're gonna let you chime in on what you want to talk about. All right. What is something you learned that was helpful from a prior relationship?
Mm.
Mhm.
Something that I learned that was helpful from a prior relationship. I would say no, take the time to know your mate and support your mate. This is, can be trivial or it could be something that, is is a little deeper for some folks. But I remember I was starting my natural hair journey and I had cut all my hair off, right? Which is a whole nother thing in and of itself because in a relationship, do you think can you change your hair, if the other person doesn't care for it or what? My opinion is I am who I am. I'm gonna do what I want to do, especially I'm not married, we in a relationship. But
Mhm.
anyway, I had cut all my hair off and so I was still trying to like, find my sexy, find my cute while my all my hair is gone, which I I love the decision and like it was liberating for me, so I was cool with it. But I remember my boyfriend at the time, he said, are you gonna comb your hair? And I said, my hair is already combed, right? And he said, like, you need to do something with that. Like, it's not decent.
Mm.
And it was, trust me, I'm not out here, I don't be outside looking crazy. Okay. I don't do that. But for what I guess the norm was or what he was used to, it was just something that took him, I guess, some time to get adjusted to. It's not much you can do when your hair is, cut off. I had a little bit of hair on my head, but it's not much you can do, right? So I just felt like in that regard, he should have understood me a little bit more, understood my decision to cut my hair, and it shouldn't have been how he felt about it. It should have been, how do you feel about it? If you like it, I love it, you
Mhm.
know? So really learning how to support your mate, even if it's not something that you're mega excited about. And hairstyles can be a big thing, especially in the Black community, because we can change, men and women can change our hair all the time. What if my boyfriend decides he wants to, grow locks? I have my opinion about men with locks. If you're gonna do it, make sure it's neat, make sure it's tight. But is that a deal breaker? Do we now, throw away the whole relationship because you got locks? I got locks. So it is something that you have to really be mindful of in relationships, in supporting your mate. If they're, doing changes, if they're gaining weight, if they're losing weight, all of those things organically happen in relationships. And again, we talked about, or having a product versus a person. In life, we're going to change. Our bodies are going to change. Our hair might change. The way we look might change. All of that. And it just reminded me that we always have to be connected to the core of the person because the exterior might change in some shape, form, or fashion. After women have children, their bodies look different. Does that mean that a man has to now look elsewhere? Absolutely not. I heard a man say one time, like, I would never compare another woman to my wife who bore my children, you know? And even if it's not your children, she had children, so that's automatically going to change the design of her body. So just making sure that we're connecting not to the exterior, but to the internal person, the core of who that person is. That's the person that we gotta love, not the exterior. We can be attracted because I don't want to be with somebody that I'm not attracted to, but above that, we have to make sure that we're getting into relationships for the right reasons and connecting that way.
You said a mouthful, and you almost made me change mine, but I'm gonna stick to mine. I'm gonna stick to
Well,
mine.
stick to it.
I'm gonna stick to mine. A relationship I had a few years ago, and I think this was a lesson I learned. And I don't think she was trying to teach me this. I think she was trying to let me get off of her, because she said something, and she said, I don't know, if you remember that video with that little girl that was in a car with her dad. It was, I think it was a white girl and her dad. And she's like, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself, daddy. Worry about yourself. You know what I mean? Because the dad was trying to put her seatbelt on and he was telling her, worry about yourself, daddy. Worry about yourself. You know, and it went viral. I mean, it's millions of, if you Google worry about yourself, little girl, it's epic, you know. They even did other videos trying to go viral with her because her voice is amazing and she's so cute. And you know, the female I was dealing with at the time was telling me if everybody just worry about yourself, you know, because we worry about our mate so much. So WAY, worry about yourself. When she told me that, I felt like she was being an asshole, but she gave me such a life lesson. Because once you focus more on you and working on you and tightening yourself and getting all your things in order, you have less energy to worry about your person. And about time you finish with worrying about your day, you have less to kind of pick their day apart.
Yeah.
You know, and it helped even with my children. So I have a 24-year-old, a 26-year-old, and a 27-year-old. Each of them have birthdays this year. You know, they all gonna turn older. But even with them, I had to kind of let them be because as parents, we worry about them since they was a child. When do you stop worrying? When do you start allowing them to do and develop into the person they're trying to be? So once I did that, my life became more peaceful. So worrying about yourself is the thing that I try to do every day. And at times when I get myself caught up into somebody, like the things that they might be going through, I try to bring it back. Now I'm a little anal because I will type something in my notes. I might not say nothing. I know it's kind of weird, but I'll type it in my notes. But that's me saying something without saying something. And then I get back to worrying about me. And then sometimes I never even have to bring that up because it wasn't really that big. It just sometimes we some things happen that we don't like, or we got to choose our battles. And when you worry about yourself, you learn how to choose your battles greater because your first opinions of yourself come first and always on somebody else.
Yeah. That's
So
good. That's good. That's something that I need to remind myself of constantly. I like to be in control, and I'm okay. I can say that. I can own that. I like to be in control. So, if there's something going on in my boyfriend's life, I'm asking questions, I want all the deets. I want all the information, but not just to have it, my wheels are turning of how I can insert myself into this situation, right? Not in a bad way, but to help or to provide support. But one of the things that I appreciate about him is that, and I've talked to you about that, is that he has helped me to say, like, I got this, And one time he said, like, I was surviving before I met you, right? And some people might be like, but it's the truth. So it's something that it took the pressure off of me. Like, I'm good. And if you're constantly always in my details trying to figure out or solve or control, then how can I assert myself as a man and make my own decisions for myself and for us? Right. So I do appreciate that. And I appreciate that he was able to, in a positive way, put me in my place by saying, like, I've been around for a while and I've been doing this by myself before I met you. I'm okay. So that was a good thing. And I appreciate him for that. And I needed that because of my personality. I'm kind of, I don't want to say overbearing, but I can be, right? So he showed me how to kind of reel it in, and I still be, in the details, but I'm trying to be more conscious of it so that I can just back up and let him worry about himself, and I do the same, and that way I'm at peace more. I'm focused on me, and I'm okay.
that's beautiful. And I respect that because see, a lot of people can't say their flaws or things that they are not that they person don't receive well. A lot of people can't say that. And then what your dude said, like I almost did a cartwheel out the chair. Cause I said that. I've said that. I'm like, yo, my life, like you met me, I was here 49 years before I met you.
Yeah.
I'm not homeless. Like I'm not like let me make my decisions. Let me like you're not here to fix my life. And sometimes people feel like that. And then you might have to say stuff like this. Like he kept it light, like I've been making a decision myself. Then I might say, well, I'm not your child.
Ooh.
I'm not your, I like because sometimes they still don't get it. At least you understand. Well, let me digress. Let me pull back a little bit. Now you still is control. 'Cause I told you that a long time ago when we talk about stuff. And it's cool because you identify it, and it's not just with him, it's with your brother. It's with like people you care about.
Yeah.
And it's cool. But I think everybody has to have a level of backup when the person say back up.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets real different. But it's funny. When I heard you tell a story, it just made me laugh.
Yeah.
It just made me
I could
laugh.
own up to it. I could own up. I appreciate that, but I appreciate him for saying, and he has said that. He said, "You my girl, not my mama." He has said that. And okay.
Exactly. So I feel his pain, bro. I feel his pain. You know what I mean? But look, that was the show right there. That's the show right there. We did the relationship game cards. We did that. We did the open dialogue. We did the 3 questions right there. It was a great show. It's one of our longest shows. It's gonna be the longest show we ever
Oh,
did.
dang. Sorry, people. I didn't mean to do it.
But it was good. But now we get to your question. Like
Okay.
I think since episode 6, I started asking people to, well, really 7, to ask a question. We started with 6. We have to open it up a little bit, but now I'm allowing the guests to ask a question. So you
Okay.
take it over. I answer first, and then
Okay.
you answer second, and we could dialogue however you want. But you ask
Okay.
me the question, and I just got to shoot at it.
All right, here we go. So for you, Steve, my question is, and I brought this up a little bit earlier in terms of emotional intelligence because I think it's extremely important and a non-negotiable in a successful relationship. But what place does emotional intelligence have in a relationship?
It's so important. It don't make no sense. Like, like, let's not go God and all this stuff, but let's say it's in the top 3 things I feel like need to be in a relationship. And when I had to research it and read up on emotional intelligence, you know, is people managing their emotions. And if you can't manage your own emotions, how can you connect with somebody in a relationship? And then when you're not able to identify other people's emotions, it's like you misreading the whole relationship and you mishandling the whole relationship. You can't be sympathetic to others. You can't even manage and understand when you might be spiraling. And that's the reason I brought it up earlier, but that's the reason why I write things down. And I don't speak it at the moment because it helped me keep my emotions intact. Because sometimes we don't like things that happen and we get in our feelings. But I realized years ago that you have a right to your feelings, right? But you don't have the right to treat me on how you feeling without having a conversation.
Mhm.
Because sometimes your feelings is just conducive of your filter of your own life or things that have happened. So this might not be such a bad thing that I've done or what has happened. But by you might seeing signs of things that happen in prior relationships or things you have done, you might identify what I'm doing on that. So therefore, as myself, I write things down because I gotta keep my own emotions intact. So I have a level of emotional intelligence. I didn't really know what it was. I just try to, anytime I don't like something that somebody do to me, I try to work on it with myself. So if I deal with somebody that's all over the place with their emotions and up and down, I'm not doing what they do. I like it kills me, so I'm not gonna give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to work on that. But emotional intelligence is very important. I just don't know, like you're a few years younger than me. I haven't really had it on a high level in any of my relationships.
Okay, so you say that, do you think it's because, I mean, and people may not have the verbiage to put on it, right? Emotional intelligence, but you you said it well when you were breaking it down. It's just managing your emotions and being aware of somebody else's emotions. So are you saying that in prior relationships that necessarily hasn't been the thing that is valued or that's at the forefront when building a relationship in the past?
I think right now we didn't have the awareness to even discuss this. Because right now, when you said it, like you said this to me before, because you and your little female group of women, y'all feel how y'all feel. But like you said this before to me. So and I wasn't so much aware of it. Me, I was just aware of how I manage myself because I know I can unwind. So therefore, me managing my emotions and how I respond and react to things was big on me. That was a project for myself. But I didn't realize like this could have been a conversation. This could have been a pillow talk conversation. This could have been a conversation I could have with my lady, like, baby, like we gotta control our emotions. We gotta treat each other better. We gotta identify when our person is going through things. Sometimes we gotta pull ourselves out of the situation. I didn't know to have these type of conversations. So now episode 10, Kendra question has made me better. So, 2026, boy, I'm getting engaged. You heard it today.
Okay, y'all heard it right here.
No.
Live and direct. Okay, okay. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because I do agree. I don't think in times past, I think just in general, the past couple, maybe 10, 15 years, folks are just more conscious of relationships and they're more intentional about it and they're calling out all the craziness, right? All of the things that was toxic back in the day. People are calling it out and they're not tolerating it right now. So I think emotional intelligence maybe for our parents was not a thing. Two people, you come together, you make it work, whatever each person got going on. Oh well, y'all got these children, stay in this house, yeah, be married, no matter how difficult it is or whatever. But now we are calling it out and saying, nope, not going for that, not going for that, not going for that. Um, so I think it's a fine line. I think it's a fine line of us um announcing, I have a saying. I say if I see something, I say something, right? I have to do it with balance though, because I can't be nagging. I can't ying, 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 ying all the time, right? Because then it's just gonna go in one ear and out the other. So sometimes I may make a note. Or like you say, sometimes you tell your partner, like, we gotta table this. I'm not ready. I'm not in a place to talk about this. Let's table it. We're gonna come back to it. You
Mhm.
know, but just in general, we just got to understand that we have to, like you said, manage our emotions and be aware, be conscious of how our words affect the other person, our actions affect our partner, so that we can continue to grow and have those pillow talks. I have a lot of pillow talks, a lot. Sometimes my boyfriend probably is like, "Oh gosh, here we go again." But that's because I have a counseling background too, so I'm making sure that we're processing through these things. But at the same time, it's just important for both parties to be conscious of their own emotions and how they're showing up in their relationship. That's so important. We don't think about how we're showing up, how that other person is experiencing us. We
Yeah.
only think about how we're experiencing that other person, but how is that other person experiencing us? And we constantly have to work on that to make sure that it's a healthy space for both people.
Yeah. You can't say it no better. And I think right now, people just have to understand like these conversations that you want to have. And that's why I made Relationship Game. I made Relationship Game to kind of spark conversations that people normally don't typically want to have. Because the sad thing about it is once you have these conversations, therefore it holds you accountable. Because now you tell me how you feel and how you think about a matter. So therefore I know how you should move in that situation. If you tell me you don't like disrespect, That is a deal breaker. I feel like you should probably be the last person to be disrespectful. And at times that's why I made this game. I made a relationship game with a little twist. Like me being the mad scientist, I wanted to hear what people say, and then I wanted to hold them accountable to what they said because you can't tell me you don't like this and you constantly doing it. And that's what relationships is right now. Relationships is you're the chef and the customer. And basically it's just giving and taking. See, a lot of people just feel like they just taking because they tell you what they want and they just taking, they just receive. No, it's giving and taking, and both people get the order. And that's the thing about it. We get so tied up into what we want and sometimes forget that the other person has a list of demands as well. And that's why when you was defining a narcissist, sometimes they don't even pay attention to the other list of demands because they feel like they're so superior. So why should they even have to acknowledge somebody else? Like you should be just thankful you're dealing with me. Yeah. I think I said it a few episodes, like episode 7, when we was talking about that. I said like people feel like they're entitled and then they don't even respect their counterpart. They don't even feel like their counterpart is worthy. So therefore, if you don't feel like I'm worthy, how do I feel like you'll give me your best? Kendra, we had a good episode. I ain't even gonna hold you. If you want to leave us with a little bit of words or whatever, I'll give you the floor. If you want to say something or you want to shoot anything, I'm gonna give you the floor so we can wrap this thing on up.
All right. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this podcast. Thank you for bringing these conversations to the table. I think we all need it in some shape, form, or fashion, whether we're single or where we're married. It's about relationships. So excited about your game. I'm going to be promoting your game amongst my friends, single and married, just to continue the conversation and making sure that we're having a healthy space where we can talk these things out so that we can be successful. Again, two are better than one, and I really think that it's important for us to develop ourselves individually and be okay in our singleness and be whole and strong and solid in our singleness so that we can come together and have great marriages and relationships that's going to be healthy and impact the world. So thank you for this platform. Thank you for this conversation. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep doing it.
Well, no problem. No, thank you, man. You brought the best out of me today because you challenged me a lot too. I felt like I was in court or something a couple of times, but it worked out. It worked out. And your question, I have to. The emotional intelligence. You said that to me a while ago. Because you was telling me you and your friends was talking about it. I didn't process it the way I did, because when we talked about it and I looked it up and everything, but it's so important. And I think that is one of the things that's what I'm gonna take from this show. Like I haven't said what I take from every show, but emotional intelligence I'm taking from this show, and I'm gonna have to dive into it. And the next person I get with on a serious level, this is something we're gonna have to talk about. And I feel like once we identify, managing our emotions and identify other people's emotions, I think that we'll be in a better place to really have a healthy relationship, you know. But I'm gonna leave you with something, right? We was talking earlier before we did the Zoom or whatever, and even with the social media and everything right now, like to me, I'm gonna explain something like why it's hard for me to date right now, and regardless of how everybody feel and everybody think about this, that, and other, I realize a lot of people don't stand for anything. Like right now, we in today's society where social media from us from you scrolling for 30 minutes, you got 17 different relationship reels. And don't get me wrong, some of them is very impactful, but do you want a real relationship, REEL, or do you want a real relationship, REAL? Like sometimes we got to identify what we want. And it's hard for me to be in a relationship with somebody that's in a real relationship with the two E's, because they forever changing. It's like, I don't even know who you are. I almost have to look at your timeline of reels you watch to realize who I'm dealing with, because people change their mind by them 90-second reels. And right now, I want to date somebody who know what it is to be in a real relationship, who has emotional intelligence, who could be accountable, who could respect and realize if you say your other half, so to speak, that you value your other half. Like I don't want nobody who don't value me. Like, don't waste my time. I can still sleep with you, but we don't have to be in a yeah. I mean, because I'm just saying I'm human. Like me and you talk about what's the word me and you talk about?
Fornication.
Fornication, yeah. But that's neither here nor there. But the whole thing is like, don't waste my time. If you don't value me as something you can have serious, don't waste my time, because we don't have to be serious. I'm cool with having just to be dating. I'm cool with it. But some people don't understand that. And my thing is, it's just so hard to be in a relationship. That's when people ask like the climate of this, the climate of that. You got people from their 20s to 60s that's dealing with this climate of dealing with each other. And then sometimes they look at me because I seen your face when I said I'll sleep with somebody. But my whole thing is this. I'm not gonna wait 50 or 10 or 6 years to find that person I'm aligned with. I'm still going to live life and be realistically and date, have a good time, find somebody who, we both agree that this is how we want to kick it with each other, and live my life. But right now, it's just so hard with social media, and then people feeling like they're entitled. And when you was talking earlier about that real situation, real relationship, and a real relationship, it's hard right now when you're dealing with people mentalities where they learning more from people talking than their own life.
Yep.
I learned from my life. I learned from my experiences. I'm not repeating reels. I'm not saying the trendy stuff. That's what they'll have the all the likes or whatever. If I get 4 likes, I'm good. But I'm not gonna sit here and say the trendy stuff. I can repeat the stuff that's on social media. I could repeat. I could be what they say. I could be Dr. Dre and put a nice beat and say the lyrics that somebody else wrote. I could do that, but it ain't real to me. But anyway, I ain't gonna speak at that horse. I'll go on and on. I go on and on. But Kendra, I just want to say thank you once again. And we gave the people a little glimpse of what it would have been if me and you would have did the podcast together.
Yeah.
So if they really like the this episode, I really want them to reach out and tell us, is this something you would like to see? Even if we don't do the podcast together, I would like to have you back more often so we can dive into some other things.
Okay.
I want
So
to see
people, let us know. Let us know how you feeling
what the
about it.
people think. I want to see what the people think. So leave a comment and tell me what you think about Kendra and what you think about how this episode went.
Absolutely. I had a good time. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, giving me your Sunday. I know this is the day of the Lord and you gave it to Steve as well. So that's good. And then my Knicks is playing right there. I got it playing in the background. So
Oh Lord. No,
my Knicks,
I just came from church, did this, and now it's time to cook. Now I gotta head to the kitchen.
I got a roast on. I seared a roast and I put it in a crock pot. So it's smelling real good. So I gotta get home and cook some things as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's all. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Take care.
So bye-bye.